Oh man, spread the word of Islam. Oh, fortunate one, paradise must be won. Paradise must be won each day and each night, through darkness and through light. Cry it out to the world. Spread the word. Spread the word of Islam.
Modernism has no place in Islam. There are no versions of Islam. We don't have moderate Muslims, extremist Muslims, Friday Muslims. We really don't have them. We just have Muslims. Modernism is a trend which challenges Islam right now and Muslims. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, if a fly falls in your drink, dunk him in, push him in under the water or the milk or whatever, and throw him out and finish your drink. Because under one wing of the fly is disease, and under the other wing is the cure. So they say, doctors, Maurice Bucaille wrote about this in the back of his book, The Quran, the Bible, and Science. Doctors only know from the fly disease. The fly flies on diseased things and it brings those diseases to people. Flies are known for disease, so we don't know of any cure, so this hadith cannot be acceptable, cannot be authentic. Even though it is found in the most authentic books, we reject it because it contradicts, as they say, science. But really, does it contradict science? No, it doesn't. The hadith of the fly does not contradict science, really. It speaks about something which science doesn't know. That's all it's doing. Science knows about the disease, right? And the Prophet ﷺ 1,400 years ago pointed out, this is another point of the hadith that people don't reflect on. People 1,000 years ago, 1,400 years ago, didn't know that there was disease coming from the fly. The Prophet pointed it out 1,400 years ago, that it is a carrier of disease. But he also pointed out that it is a carrier of the cure. Science confirmed after the development of the microscope, where they could see microbes and the diseases which the fly carries. They said, yes, the fly carries disease. That's 16th century. 16th century. 1,000 years after the time that the Prophet ﷺ said that there is disease in the fly. Since then, they didn't investigate to see if there could be a cure from the fly also. It's just assumed it's just a source of disease, and that's it. Finish. End of story. However, if we were to have said to somebody in the 1900s, we said to them that in snake poison, the poison of the cobra, there is medicine for heart disease. What do you think they would have said then? Yeah, sounds reasonable. They would have said, you are mad. You are insane. It is known that if a cobra bites you, the poison will stop your heart and you will die. Yet today, there are cobra farms. Bangladesh is well known for it. Cobra farms where the poison of the cobra is milked from the cobra, and extracted from it is medicine used for heart patients. That is the fact of science. The snake has in his own body the poison which could kill him along with the antidote. If he didn't have the antidote, every time he bit something, he would kill himself. So he has the antidote within him. And there are many other plants in the plant in kingdom, it is known, that have both disease and cure. So it is not something unusual. It exists in the world of science. The disease and the cure in the same animal or insect, etc. So the fact that science hasn't discovered it in the fly doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means they haven't discovered it. That's all. So we have that on one hand. Look on the other hand. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam 1,400 years ago told his companions, his followers, not to sleep on their stomachs. He told them, don't sleep on your stomachs. And to discourage them further, he said, that is the way the people of the hellfire lie in the hell. But he told them, don't sleep on your stomach. When he found them, his companions sleeping on his stomach, he would come, nudge them with his foot, told them, don't sleep on your stomach. That was the instructions which he gave. For 1,400 years, devout Muslims followed that. They slept on the right side, as the Prophet did, or on their backs. They avoided sleeping on their stomachs. In the 20th century, in the late 70s, early 80s, doctors analyzing the problems of the back, the spine, leading to what they call sway back, people who are hunched over, who can't stand straight, various operations that they have to do to fix the spine. After analyzing those in an issue of Time magazine, they placed a series of recommendations. On the top of the list of recommendations, they said, don't sleep on your stomach. Don't sleep on your stomach. They explained that the spine is the heaviest, bone structure of the body. There is nothing to support it. It's only soft organs in front of it, so it will sag downwards if you lie on your stomach. They said, lie on your side or on your back. That was told 1,400 years ago. Furthermore, in the late 80s, around 1989, British medical scientists doing a survey on children who died in their sleep. Babies, 1 year old, 2 years old, 8 months old. Parents put them to sleep and they die. They don't wake up. This was called cot death or SDS, sudden death syndrome. There are different names for it. They didn't know what caused it. Speculation, but nobody knew. Scientists in the UK, they gathered data from the families who had a child die amongst them, asking them about the type of mattress that they put the child to sleep on, the type of crib, paint which was used, the atmosphere, what was the temperature in the room, were people smoking in the room. They tried to gather as much data about each of those children. Then they fed it into a computer and allowed the computer to correlate it and to bring out the common factors. Number one factor, children put to sleep on their stomachs. It was commonly known amongst the nurses that they would tell parents, tell the mother, if the child has colic, it's crying, it has upset stomach, put them to sleep, put them to lie on their stomachs. That was common knowledge. People used to do that. However, when the doctors realized this, they put on the front pages of the newspapers in the UK, a warning to parents not to put their children to sleep on their stomachs. Their babies, don't put them to sleep on their stomachs. They instructed the hospitals across the country to advise parents not to do this. 9 years later, in 1998, when they did an analysis of the rate of cot death, they found that it had dropped almost 70%. Their research was passed on to other parts of the world, in the US, etc., and it spread. But here was something. One might have said it is enough to know that it causes back problems, but here was something else, that it can lead to the death of children. This is something the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, spoke about 1,400 years ago. So do we need to modernize Islam? No, we don't. We may need to modernize Muslims in the sense that they need to educate themselves. They need to get involved in society, building institutions, etc. They need to go back to Islam and to practice it as it should be practiced. Yes. But modernize Islam? No. The teachings of Islam stand. No matter how the West may paint them, like the cutting off the hand of the thief. There is a website on the internet. When you go into it, it shows you a picture of the hand, 3D, and it talks about the miracle of the hand. How, the muscles, the ligaments, the bones work and show this beautiful, wonderful creation of God, the hand. Then at the end of it, it says, and Muslims cut it off. And Muslims cut it off. Well, if we go into the societies where Muslims cut the hand of the thief, what we find is a society which is secure. In Saudi Arabia, and I lived there for 20 years. I lived in Riyadh for 14 years in different parts of the city. And I can honestly say that for those 14 years, I never locked my front door. So do we need to modernize Islam? No, we don't. We may need to modernize Muslims in the sense that they need to educate themselves. They need to get involved in society, building institutions, etc. They need to go back to Islam and to practice it as it should be practiced. Yes. But modernize Islam? No. The teachings of Islam stand. No matter how the West may paint them, like the cutting off the hand of the thief. There is a website on the internet. When you go into it, it shows you a picture of the hand, 3D, and it talks about the miracle of the hand. How, the muscles, the ligaments, the bones work and show this beautiful, wonderful creation of God, the hand. Then at the end of it, it says, and Muslims cut it off. And Muslims cut it off. Well, If we go into the societies where Muslims cut the hand of the thief, what we find is a society which is secure. In Saudi Arabia, and I lived there for 20 years. I lived in Riyadh for 14 years in different parts of the city. And I can honestly say that for those 14 years, I never locked my front door. Closed it, but latching and locks and chains, never did it. And nobody entered my home, nor my neighbor's home. And when I spoke to many non-Muslims who live there, and I asked them, how did they find life there? They said, safe. They felt a sense of safety and security they couldn't feel back home. Yes, there are cases of rape. There are cases of murder. There are cases of theft. It does exist. It doesn't say that because in the time of the Prophet, people stole, people committed adultery, people committed murder, and they were executed, or their hands were cut off. But the society was a safe society. So we say, if the price for safety of the society is to cut off the hand of the thief, then we will take his hand. It is a miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if that miracle is not serving its proper purpose and it's serving to harm the society, better cut it off. As Jesus was supposed to have said, if your eye hurts you, you're looking at things you shouldn't be looking at, pluck it out. Remove it. Protect the society. And it should be known anyway that when the law for cutting the hand is applied, it's not applied to each and every person anyhow, anyway. No. There are rules for its application. The rules include that a person not steal in a time of poverty. If there is mass poverty in the society where people are starving, etc., in such circumstances, then their hand will not be cut off. If they steal from their boss, you may have a boss, a manager who's not giving you your wages, and you steal from him, your hand will not be cut off. If you steal from public property, you go into a library and you steal a library book, your hand will not be cut off because you have a part of it. If you steal from something which is not in its normal place, meaning it has fallen from somebody's pocket, for example, and you pick it up, finders keepers, you're not supposed to do that. You may be punished for it, but they won't cut your hand off. Temptation was there. Whose hand is cut off? It is the professional thief, the pickpocket. How do you think somebody learns to pick a pocket? You think anybody can just go and pick a pocket? No. You have to train for it. How to distract the person? You work with a partner who will bounce the person from the other side. Whilst the person is turning, your hand goes in his pocket and you got his stuff. It's an art, an evil art, but you have to train for it. So that person loses his hand. The person who breaks into your home, breaks into a bank, they will lose their hands. So this is applied to the incorrigible, people who are, in fact, choosing to steal. They're the ones who feel what's yours is mine and what's mine is mine. Such people don't deserve to be allowed to spread their harm in the society. So they are checked. And once people know that this is the law, you'll find people back off. And so on and so forth through the various laws of Islam. They are there for the protection of the society. And as they say, the proof is in the pudding. You can see it. You live in that society, you feel a sense of safety and security, which you cannot enjoy in most other large societies around the world. So, in concluding, modernism has no place in Islam. There are no versions of Islam. We don't have moderate Muslims, extremist Muslims, Friday Muslims, Ramadan Muslims. We may use these terms, but we really don't have them. We just have Muslims. Modernism is a trend which challenges Islam right now and Muslims. It is a part of the globalization of Western culture. To get a form of Islam which it can function with and succeed in globalizing its values, it has promoted modernism. Because it is that kind of a Muslim who will willingly give up his or her values for the material success of Western civilization. However, in spite of all that material success, the progress that is there, that country, those countries of the West have gone down morally. Corruption is rampant. Families are falling apart. This is the consequence. When people stray away from the laws of God and put it all in the hands of men, then our foundation for society becomes lost. Islam stands as it was 1,400 years ago, not in need of any modernization, but only in need of implementation. This is the challenge before us today, my brothers and sisters. To implement Islam, to make Islam real, to show what Islam has to offer in India, in the world. We have a beautiful way of life. We have the ultimate way to establish peace in society. We have it, but we're not utilizing it. We're not practicing it. So instead, we're looked at as terrorists. We're looked at as backward, as oppressors of women, etc., etc., etc. This is all a consequence of our deviation from Islam. And our success ultimately lies with returning to the teachings of Islam. With that, as with the earlier generations, we will find success. Only there. So I conclude calling all of you to reassess our current situation and to commit ourselves sincerely to Islam, to make a change in the way things have been going to this point, to have an impact on this society, to contribute to this country, part of God's world. Let us commit ourselves, recommit ourselves to practicing Islam and to building the necessary institutions to promote Islam in the society and in the world. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Spread the word, oh man. Spread the word of Islam. Oh, fortunate one, paradise must be won. Paradise must be won each day and each night, through darkness and through light. Cry it out to the world. Spread the word.